Hello, welcome. It's Liz from West Star Tarot, and I'm here today to do my June recap. And it's really funny as I go through the months. I often think to myself that not much is going on, and then when I sit down to do the recap, I realize that there's a lot more that went on than I actually realized until I kind of put it all together. So June was a beautiful month here where I live, which it often is. It's, before we get into the real deep heat of summer. So it's warm but not super hot, and it's usually not as humid as July, August, and even September are. And that was the case this year. So it's been a beautiful month, and the gardens are just incredible. So last year in March, we had a polar vortex, and it froze a lot of the things that were just in their little pre-bud state. So like peaches, plums, hydrangeas, certain things just never bloomed last summer. And of course it was a bummer, especially peaches. I mean, I was bummed about the hydrangea, but then when it came to be peach season and there were no local peaches, oh, it was sad. Anyway, it didn't happen this year. In fact, I guess apparently it has been an incredibly perfect weather year for hydrangeas, and we'll see later on in the summer if that is the case for peaches as well. But I've never seen hydrangeas like this year. My yard is, I have hundreds and hundreds. Last year I might have had 5 in total. It was very sad. But also as I drive around my town, everywhere I look, there's just incredible displays of hydrangeas. And it's just such a beautiful plant. I think I'm going to make a flower essence this year because she's having a really potent year and probably has a lot to say. So I think I will do a flower essence. But anyway, I have one hydrangea shrub that was, planted when this house was built. This house, we bought this house from the people who were the original owners. And I've been here 20 years, and the house is about 35 years old. So this hydrangea shrub is 35 years old. And it's really unusual because it's not just one color. It's blue, it's pink, it's purple, it's amazing. And it's really coming into full bloom now as we got to the end of June and into July. But the thing about this shrub is it just keeps going all summer. And by the end of the summer, it changes colors once again into sort of a burgundy, olive greenish kind of thing. So it's perfect for the fall. Anyway, I'm so happy to see this lovely plant spirit back and producing, and it brings me so much joy. Another thing that happened in June that was huge for me, but not really esoteric. It didn't have anything to do with tarot or herbs or the decans or any of the other things I usually talk about on my channel. And that is that my favorite team, the Boston Celtics, won the NBA championship this year. And I have been watching the games since October, all season long. And, all the national media were dissing them and saying they don't have what it takes. And they won the championship. And it was so fun. I had hoped to go to the parade. They had a big parade in Boston after they won the championship, and it was actually, I guess, the largest championship parade in NBA history. 1.5 million people plus gathered on the streets of Boston to cheer the team. And anyway, it was a lot of fun, and I'm a huge basketball fan. My dad used to take me and my sister and my mom also to the games in Boston Garden when we were kids, and I remember we would drive in and park behind North Station where Boston Garden was, and we would, my dad would buy everybody a bag of peanuts on the outside of the stadium, of the garden, and they were $2.50. No, the tickets were $2.50. Each ticket was $2.50. I forget how much the peanuts were. We would sit up in like what we called the nosebleed seat, so we were way, way, way up. And we would eat our peanuts, and my dad would buy us Cokes inside the garden, and we got to watch Bill Russell and John Havlicek and Tommy Heinsohn and Sam Jones and Casey Jones and Satch Sanders and all these, Bob Cousy, all these classic Celtics players when the Celtics just won year after year after year. And we would go a lot, and we would even sometimes get to go to playoff games. So I thought that was pretty nice of my dad to take us. But, you know, I grew up in a family where we all watched the games and went to the games. Even my grandmother was a Celtics and a Red Sox fan. So, you know, it's in me. It's in my ancestry. It's in my blood. And that was a big fun thing this year, and in the month of June. So another thing that happened in June was solstice. And so my lovely daughter Naomi and her friend Kinsey, Kinsey owns a shop called Crow's Nest, and it's a retail shop, and it also has a mocktail bar attached to it with small plates. And then in the back of the retail space, Kinsey has started this place that people can use for rituals. And Kinsey will decorate it and set the place up and serve food if people want food, and then you can come in and do your ritual. So Naomi did a summer solstice ritual, and I asked a dear friend of mine if she wanted to go, and she had never been to anything like that, my friend Betsy, but she said, yeah, let's go. So we went, and we sat at a table with 4 other women. We didn't know any of them, and we just had a wonderful time chatting with these women. It was a 5-course meal, and with each part of the meal, Naomi did a different ritual. You know, she created sacred space. When we walked into the space, all the tables were set up with these beautiful tablecloths and these amazing candelabras with beautiful tapered candles and these incredible flower arrangements. And the food was amazing, and the rituals were amazing, and it was just really, really special. And I was just really felt fortunate to be able to participate in such a beautiful, soul touching experience. And then the following week, I did my own circle solstice with my friend Grace, who owns a beautiful yoga studio in Plymouth. And we started in May, so at Beltane we decided we had started doing women's circles or sacred circles before the pandemic, and about, I don't know, maybe 8 months or so before the pandemic. And then once the pandemic struck, of course, we couldn't do them anymore. So, you know, I am really missing having a community to do rituals with. I was in a coven for over 20 years with a group of women. When we first started meeting, we met 3 times a month. And we used Shekinah Mountain Water's book and then Diane Stein's book to kind of guide us on our way. And we were all learning and exploring the sacred feminine, the divine feminine. And I know now that we are looking at gender beyond the binary, that some folks don't like to see us address the divinity in polarities or binaries. But for me, growing up in an incredibly patriarchal time when women really had no voice at all, and there really weren't so many places where, the divine was solely defined as masculine. And so as I awakened, my feminist self awakened, I began to want to explore the divine in her feminine guise. And I can remember one time going to visit my parents, and my mom and I were going to go to the beach, and my mom backed her car out of the garage, and I saw this bumper sticker. This was in the 80s. And on my mom's car, it said, "God is coming, and is she pissed?" And I just died. I'm like, Mom, love your bumper sticker. But anyway, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And, so anyway, sometime I might do a video to discuss this more in depth. I respect and appreciate the idea of looking at divinity in a non-binary way or a non-gendered way, and I'm good with that. But I also feel a real strong connection to the goddess and to Gaia and to the earth, who I see as feminine, and to the moon, who I feel is feminine. And I am really absolutely fine with and understand and support and appreciate folks who look at these things differently. But I guess I ask for you to do the same for me when I want to talk about the goddess and the divine in their feminine guise. So anyway, that was a total digression, and I'm like now looking at my notes thinking, oh my goodness, where did I leave off here? Oh, so I wanted to talk a little bit about books. So I got this book at the Reader Studio the end of April, but I just started it in June, and it's called Tarot by the Numbers, Learn the Codes that Unlock the Meaning of the Cards, and it's by Liz Dean. And Liz Dean has a number of books out. And she was a speaker at the Reader Studio conference, and she actually spoke about numbers, but in particular she talked about the number 7, and in particular the 7 of Cups. But anyway, I was inspired by her talk to get her book, and I'm really enjoying it. And I have not finished it, but I will continue to read it in my plodding, methodical way. A book that I'm continuing to work with, that I've been working with for quite some time, is Radical Tarot by Charlie Claire Burgess. Last month I got Charlie's recent Kickstarter deck, the Gay Marseille, and I absolutely adore it. It's the first Marseille deck that I have ever worked with on a regular basis and found that I put the cards down and they just speak to me. I understand them. And I didn't know that I would be able to do that. But anyway, that deck is very special to me, as is Charlie's other deck, Fifth Spirit. Both of those decks I used quite a bit in June and will continue to use. I love them both. But this book is a wonderful book and has a very different twist on how to look at tarot. And in fact, Charlie is someone who talks about looking at the divine in a non-binary way. And it's a very touching, and I understand what they're saying, and I hear what they're saying, and I even agree with what they're saying. So anyway, that book. And then I'm continuing. This is another book I got at Reader Studio. This is 36 Secrets, a Decanic Journey Through the Minor Arcana of the Tarot by T. Susan Chang. Last year was the first time I did a decan cycle from Aries 1 all the way through Pisces 3. And I used a book by Corinne Kenner called, I think, Tarot and Astrology. And I loved that book. It really kind of made things click for me, but I was ready for something a little bit more. And this is more. So now I'm doing my second decan cycle, and I'm using Susie Chang's book, and I'm really enjoying that. We are now in Cancer 2, which is the Three of Cups, and I find it interesting, and I really am going to have to think a little bit about this. I haven't really explored this, and maybe I need to use the tarot to explore it. But you know, when we look at Gemini, we have the 8, 9, 10 of swords, and it's like, whoa, that's a little rough. And then we go from Gemini into Cancer, and Cancer is the 2, 3, 4 of cups, and it's like, ooh, yeah, thank you. I need a little bit of that to recover from the 8, 9, 10 of swords. But I want to think a little bit about the time of year and, you know, what does this actually, how do I relate to these cards? How do these cards relate to the seasons and the sign and the majors that are associated with those decans? So anyway, lots to explore. And then you've heard me speak a lot about the Sacred Medicine Oracle by Asha Frost and Steph Littlebird. Asha is the creator author and Steph is the artist. And I saw that Asha has a new oracle coming out called something like Sacred Elders or something. But anyway, it's an animal deck. It's coming out late fall, early winter, I want to say. Very excited about that. But in the meantime, I came across this. You Are the Medicine. And this is 13 Moons of Indigenous Wisdom, Ancestral Connection, and Animal Spirit Guidance. And this is by Asha. And it's really wonderful. One of the things I really enjoyed, or maybe not enjoyed, but I found enlightening, was Asha addresses when we acknowledging the traditional lands that we're on. So, for example, I live on the land of the Mashpee Wampanoag, and the Mashpee Wampanoag are an active tribe. They have a tribal council. They have tribal lands. In fact, coming up this weekend is their annual powwow, and they have a presence in town government. So I live in a town where there's an active tribe. But, you know, I was wondering, is it patronizing? Is it, am Am I just trying to make myself feel better when I do a land acknowledgement? I was in a online women's circle for 2023 for the whole year, run by Joanna Powell Colbert. And often, very often, people would speak and say, "Oh, I'm so and so, and I live on they would do land acknowledgements." And I sometimes got the feeling like cringe, like, I don't know. But Asha addresses that, and I just want to read what she says. So, as you begin this book, take a moment to acknowledge the traditional land you are on. If you don't know whose land you occupy, this is a perfect time to find out. And she talks about how you can do that. And then she says, as you acknowledge the earth beneath your feet, feel the spirit of the land and all it carries, for it has witnessed lifetimes of both beauty and pain. Land acknowledgements remind everyone of the truth that we, Indigenous people, are still here. When spoken with intention, the words remind all who listen that no one can erase our colonial and oppressive history. As Indigenous people, we place ourselves in relationship to the land. We don't own it, we have a kinship with it. When we speak these words, we acknowledge the broken treaties and the repair that is needed. Land acknowledgements are so much more than words spoken. They create ripples of healing, past, present, and future. Land acknowledgements are so much more than words spoken. They create ripples of healing, past, present, and future. So those words really struck me and made me think about land acknowledgements in a different way. And I guess that part of it is the intention you bring when you do a land acknowledgement. So I just wanted to thank Asha for that teaching, and it's something that I am pondering and thinking about. So those were the nonfiction books. I did set a goal again this year, as I did last year, to read 100 books. And I am tracking the books I'm reading in a notebook because I'm old school. I know there are apps, but I like doing it in my little notebook. And as of the end of June, I am on my 68th book. So halfway through the year, I'm reading my 68th book. So I feel like there's a very good chance that I will meet my goal this year. So I'm really excited about that. I did get 2 new decks this month. This one is called Sacred Incantations, Rituals of Trans Wisdom for Every Season. And I saw this on Laura at Aquamarine 18 Tarot and Books YouTube. And by the time I saw it, you could get a book, a guidebook. Let me show you that. But the deck was out of print. However, when I went to the website, they said we are going to reprint it, get on the wait list. So I did, and sure enough, they reprinted it. So this is a deck created by queer and trans people, for queer and trans people, and other folks too. And I'm not going to go into detail about the deck right now because I feel like this is kind of going to be a long video anyway. But when I first so it's divided up into 4, I guess, seasons: germinating, rooting, blooming, decaying. And every card, boy, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's, I think, I don't even know, 78 cards maybe? I don't know, there's quite a few. And some of them are definitely trans-specific, but others I found were not. And I basically bought the deck because I wanted to support the project. But once I got the cards, the deck, and I started to go through each card, I was so moved emotionally by the by each card, by many of the cards. So I decided after I got the deck that I was going to pull a card to start with. And as I had gone through all the cards, let me just show you a few of them instead of looking at my face. You can look at some of the cards. So as I'm talking, you can see. So you can see if you read down here, some are very trans, queer specific, and others can be used really by anyone. And the cards, each card is created by a different author and a different artist. And it's funny that I feel like there's a cohesion with the artwork somehow. I don't usually care for decks that have all different artists, but this one I find to be great, and I love it, and I don't find it disjarring or disconcerting at all. But each of the cards can be used for a ritual. So let me just tell you. So we gender transgressors of the non-cis variety do not make our way alone. Being of and belonging to the earth, we build from lineages of wisdom that have carried our people through countless seasons of germinating, rooting, blooming, and decaying. This wisdom finds its way across cultures, generations, and geographies, shape-shifting to meet the needs and realities of each context. And it just goes on to talk a little bit more about that. The guidebook, as I said, each card has a ritual associated with it, and I'm going to just talk about, here it is, the card that I pulled. So as I went through the cards the first time, as I said, I was really touched and moved emotionally. It just spoke to my heart, it spoke to my spirit. It was really quite moving. And so this was the card that stuck out to me. Staying tender is so brave. And specifically, I have had the, misfortune to be involved with some people who have always made me feel like being tender, being compassionate, having empathy, showing your emotions is a weakness. And I've always known and felt in my heart that that's not true. But seeing that on this card really touched me. So instead of randomly pulling my first card and for my first ritual with this deck, I decided I'm going to choose purposefully this card because it really speaks to me. And so this card, the artwork is by Art Twink, and the ritual is created by Sorrel, Virginia Hester. And so the ritual is you get a warm item that can be held to your heart, to the chest, such as a mug of hot liquid hot tea or herbal tea, a small heatable plush, etc. And then you hold it to your heart, and you do this ritual. And as you're doing the ritual, the heat will cool down and warm you from the inside out. So I decided that I was going to do it a little bit differently. And so instead of using a warm item, it was also a very warm day when I did this, I decided to use this really special rose quartz heartstone that I have. And I held that to my heart, and I did the ritual, and I held it to my heart, and I allowed my heart to warm up the rose quartz. And I kept the rose quartz cradled to my heart until it became warm. And then I said, okay, now the ritual is complete. So that was really special and important and moving and enlightening. And so a couple weeks later, I left this card out on my altar for a while. And I thought, oh, I think it's time to pull a card. Sorry, I have dropped my card on the floor here. And so I thought, okay, this time I'm going to, shuffle and randomly pull a card. And this is the card that I randomly pulled. Don't you love it when that happens? So I'm still working with this card. And it's been almost a month now. So 2 weeks with the intentional pull and then 2 weeks with the random pull. And now I'm ready to randomly pull another card. We'll see what happens. I just wanted to mention that this deck is a project of Enfleshed, spiritual nourishment for collective liberation. And so I feel like we can all become liberated from the patriarchy, from colonialism, from capitalism. And we all need to change and grow and heal. And so I think there are a lot of cards in this deck that can be used by folks who do not identify as trans or queer. And there's a lot to learn, a lot for us to heal, a lot for us to grow, and a lot for us to understand as we use this deck. So thank you, Laura, very much for showing me this deck on your channel. I really appreciate it, and I'm so pleased to be able to have gotten that deck. So I have plants I wanted to talk about. So this month of June, there are 3 plants that really speak to me and who are blooming and active in the month. The first one is Angelica. And I have in my garden Angelica, Archangelica. And I meant to bring one. You know what? I'm going to just go run. I'm going to have the empty camera thing. Oh no, hold on. Oh, thank you so much for bearing with me, but I really wanted to show you the beautiful Angelica. This is what she looks like in her flowering state, and now many of mine are in their seed state. But doesn't she look like a big fireworks display? I love her so much. Anyway, this June, I was called to make a flower essence with Angelica. And I just wanted to, I sat with her and I got a message from her. And I'm just going to read you a couple of the first few sentences that came from her. We are here. We have come from the Most High. We are here to open you humans up from the top to the bottom and from the bottom to the top, to clear out old ways of seeing. We are here to change the way you perceive the world. We are here to show you a new way of perceiving. It is time to release the old ways which no longer serve us. We are here so that you may change your perception, that you may open your heart and see, that you may open your mind and see. And it must happen, Angelica says. It's time and it must happen. So I made a batch of Angelica Flower Essence, and I have quite a bit of it. And so if you are interested in any, please let me know. You can make a comment below and let me know. I think I don't think, one of the messages I got from Angelica was that I need to share this flower essence with as many people who are interested, and with as many people as I can. And so that's why I kept a big jar of the mother essence, and I will be able to make many stock and dosage bottles from the mother essence. And I right after I got that message from her, I ordered a whole bunch of half-ounce bottles for dosage bottles. So like I said, if you're interested, let me know. Another plant that I love to connect with in June is Rosa rugosa. This is from the Herb Crafter, and Joanna has chosen to put Rose with the Empress card, which I think is beautiful, because Rose is healing. Rose is transforming. Rose is sovereign. Rose is a leader in healing and heart healing. And I think so is the Empress. And so I love this combination. So I did make a jar of rose oil, which is steeping or infusing, and I also made several jars of Rose Petal Elixir. And so what I do is I put the rose petals in organic vegetable glycerin, and this was started June 6th. So another couple weeks, it will be ready, and I'll decant it. And oh my gosh, it is so incredible. The taste is amazing, and what she does to heal our hearts, both physical and metaphysical, is incredible. And I highly recommend using rose glycerin. And I think rose glycerin will be a beautiful remedy to work with Angelica. They'll coordinate beautifully together. And then the third plant that is a plant that is special to me in the month of June is St. Johns Wort. And St. Johns Wort is a plant that these three plants, I think if I could only have 3 plants, these might be my only 3. I love them dearly. They grow around me really profusely and abundantly, and I am lucky that they grow even around my yard, and so I can harvest them and use them for healing and share them with other folks too. So for the St. Johns Wort, I'm making an oil. And so there's still some more I'm going to harvest. I'm hoping that I'll be able to fill this jar up. And the interesting thing about St. Johns Wort is most of the times when you're making an herbal remedy, tincture or oil, you want to keep it out of the direct sunlight and out of heat. You want to keep it in a cool, dark place. If you walk down into my cellar, you'll see I have all these shelves with all my things that are infusing in the dark, cool basement. But St. Johns Wort, I have found to be more potent when I put it in the sun. So during the day when it's sunny out, I will put the St. Johns Wort oil out on my out on a table here on my deck in the sun, and then at night I will bring it inside. And I think, you know, maybe that's because St. Johns Wort is ruled by the sun and has an affinity for the sun, and so maybe that's why St. Johns Wort responds. The response of St. Johns Wort to the sun is to become more potent rather than less potent. So anyway, I had a few more things that I wanted to say, but I'm well longer than I intended to be, so I'm going to end here. Comment below if you're interested in Rose or especially Angelica. I have so much Angelica, and I really want to share her with as many people who are interested. Also, tell me about what decks you used in the month of June. What activities touched your heart? What decks did you use? I always love hearing from you and interacting with you. That's kind of the whole reason I want to have a YouTube channel, is to build community and to interact with each other. Anyway, my friends, as always, peace and love.